Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first edition of Tark Talks for 2020, where we go over the last stories of 2019. I give you a couple thoughts on them, and then we forget about them forever. First off, though, welcome everybody to the new year, and apologies that it took me so long to get here. After uploading my best games of 2019 video, I had intended on taking a break and resuming work on January 1st. Well, lo and behold, as soon as the new year hit, I got sick. And by January 2nd, I completely lost my voice.
Clearly, this isn't really working too well right now.
So we may be a bit backed up here, but we're gonna go for broke and deliver this old news anyway, even though my voice is still not completely back where it should be. Let's start with the Game Awards. Yes, the Game Awards have come and gone, and it was all wildly underwhelming. I don't look for much out of award shows like this, mostly just tuning in to see if any new games get revealed, and to see how happy the winners are to receive their awards. Without a doubt, the biggest story surrounding the Game Awards this year was how rigged they were, and how Death Stranding was nominated for a ton of awards and was going to win them all. Well, Death Stranding did win some awards, including the one I thought they didn't even deserve a nomination for. The way I see it, looking at its nominations, it's definitely earned nearly every one of them, with the only outstanding one being Best Soundtrack.
And the winner is Death Stranding.
I'm pretty sure that Astral Chain at least deserved a nomination and possibly the win, but I digress. When all was said and done, Death Stranding really didn't bring home that many awards, and the coveted and super rigged Game of the Year award ended up going to Sekiro, a game that didn't make my top 10 of the year, but one that I can see being rather deserving to many people. So once again, all the social media hubbub surrounding this event kind of added up to nothing. Or at the very least, the people in charge of rigging these ceremonies done a bad job of it. The show overall was just a little boring, most of the reveals weren't much to be excited for, and the guest performers were kind of hit or miss. There are few people in Hollywood more awkward in person than Vin Diesel.
You're so beautiful. God, she's so beautiful, man. Tell me your story. Tell me yours. Let's get out of here. Let's go. Let's go have lunch. I love her. Man, she's so fucking sexy. It's not. I can't do this interview. Look at her. Da 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 da. Head shark.
But yeah, there wasn't much crazy at the Game Awards, especially not for fans of niche games. Niche games whose awards are either not announced at all or lumped into some really quick sideshow of an event. I guess the next Xbox got revealed, the Xbox refrigerator or something. I mean, like, I don't really care. Honestly, these mid-gen console releases have kind of detracted from how cool console reveals are for me. We're getting a reveal every year or two now, it seems, and for the most part, the jump from one gen or one system to the next just isn't feeling as exciting anymore. I will, of course, be more interested when we get the games, but we don't have those yet. Moving on from here, we have some more Kiseki news. Somehow it seems new info comes out about The Legend of Heroes every month, and I'm certainly not complaining. First, we have what sounds like a prequel game in development, a game called Hajimari no Kiseki, which will reportedly end the series. What happened to 20 more years of Kiseki? Oh, never mind. That's just journalism doing what it usually does, being shoddy. Aside from its development and name, we don't know too much about this game yet. We also have word of a Crossbell Arc port coming to PS4 in Japan, going by Zero and Ao no Kiseki Kai. By the sounds of it, one of the primary reasons for this was, 1, fan demand, as many people simply want to play these games on PS4, and 2, a possible Western localization. The localization part was heavily hinted at, and this has me insanely excited. I once remarked that I really didn't think we'd be getting the Crossbell games anytime soon, but at the time I was kind of only thinking of the currently available platforms the game was on, and only the versions for those platforms. If Falcom is doing a Kai version, a PS4 port/update, then I think we can fully expect to see something big. NIS America could easily take the reins and translate this game, then get to work on a Switch port of the game just as they have for Cold Steel 3. With any luck, they won't leave PC in the dark, but I won't place bets on that one yet. And before we leave Japan, there was a bit of news I missed from November that I feel only exists to give people false hope. The Japanese Criminal Code 175, which relates to Japanese censorship law, is under review by politicians, according to a translated Twitter thread written out by An Takahashi, the CEO of Irodori Comics. What changes this can bring about, if argued well enough, is the removal of censorship from all fictional works of adult entertainment, i.e. video games and hentai. It can also result in the removal of censorship from live-action adult entertainment, provided full consent from all involved parties. Given the conservative nature of Japan and just how used to the status quo they are, there's little to no chance of this getting anywhere, but hey, little to no chance is still a chance. I'll also have you know that while looking for corroborative sources in a Google search, I got this great article from the Daily Dot. What is bukkake and where can you find bukkake porn? A tutorial for boomers, I guess. I don't know about you guys, but I always thought that mosaic blur was just how Japanese people looked down there, so I'm a little curious to see what's gonna happen when this actually goes through. I'm really curious too about Shinsei Fudanari Idol Dakamataka. I don't really speak this language very well. It just isn't the same running 50% on what I imagine is going on. In smaller news, this one here tickles me in a very special way. The Legend of Dragoon, mostly for nostalgia reasons I guess, has always been one of my all-time favorite RPGs, and I've always wanted a remake or a sequel for the modern generation. Well, this here is more of a demake, but a guy going by the name of Flamvel here on YouTube has been remaking the game in RPG Maker, and so far, it's actually looking pretty damn good. There's things that are obviously out of character, like the jump sound effect for instance, or the Bandicam watermark, but what he's got going on so far is really promising, and even if I never end up playing this version, it's gonna be a lot of fun watching its development. We also had the Witcher series drop on Netflix, and despite a few bad reviews, it seems to be landing very well for audiences. I know it was a book series first, but maybe this can lend some amount of credibility to video game-based movies and TV shows for future investors. Maybe, with a faith inspired by this, we can get good games out of the hands of bad directors. For games coming out this month, we have Yakuza 7 releasing on January 16th. If you're interested in importing Japanese games, I will be waiting on an official localization for that one. On January 23rd, we have the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles remake for Switch, and nope, that one's been delayed. I guess the multiplayer aspect is probably giving them a lot of trouble. But I am looking forward to that one when it does eventually come out. On January 20th, we have Atelier Shally DX releasing on PC, PS4, and Switch. And honestly, I don't think I have plans on picking up any of these releases this month. If you guys have anything interesting you know about releasing under the radar, let me know below. I'm still in recovery from Christmas spending, but it'd be nice to see what else is coming out. 4 channels this month. I've worked with the guy before, but don't think I've ever plugged him here, so we have Stuff We Play. I first came across his channel thanks to his Labyrinth of Refrain review, but came to find his strong suit is definitely in his Art of Failure series, where he takes a look at console and game development history in a documentary style fashion, going over what went wrong and what the potential was from the beginning. Each story is just a fantastic trip. I'd definitely recommend checking out the Superman 64 episode, and I'm not just saying that because I made a brief voice appearance, and also the video on the Game Wave console. The Game Wave is a special pile of trash. I actually own one and play it with friends from time to time, and we always have a weird, twisted fun with it. But the story of the console's history is more fun than any of its dozen or so exclusive games. Now, before we close out today's video, I want to take just a really brief year in review for this channel. I started out this year on YouTube with only 5.8 thousand subscribers and 580,000 views. Upon closing the year, we have 12.4 thousand subscribers and 1.4 million views. This effectively means that in 1 year on YouTube, we've doubled what I pulled off in the first 3 years combined. Granted, those first few years I had no idea what I was doing, and I hardly do now, but I don't exactly set goals or expectations or anything. But to suffice to say the least, if I had, I feel this would have smashed them entirely. But on a personal level, this year for me in my private life was a mix of ups and downs. I started the year in a pretty bad place. After a piece of malware that piggybacked off a Google Chrome extension, at least I believe that's where it came from, had stolen all of my info and drained my credit cards and my bank account through Amazon and PayPal, I was kind of shitting bricks. Out of desperation, I took the first shitty job that came my way and just started working away trying to recoup losses and make sure money would still be in my account in time to pay mortgage. I have a high tolerance for stress, so I put up with the job well, and I am still working at it. But it's definitely not a good place to be. Through numerous phone calls, all my stolen money was returned with the exception of $45. Though I didn't really come out on top, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a win anyway. Financially, I've just been kind of treading water since, able to support my own needs and whatnot, but certainly not well off. The year would of course turn around later when my fiance of 3 years and my girlfriend of 8 became my wife. It was a long time in the planning and I was anxious as hell going into it, so sure that I would mess something up. But it all went rather smooth. Aside from the ring bearer anyway, who honestly probably only made the whole thing better, when he seen his mom in the seating area and dropped the ring pillow off to her, then proceeded to walk down the aisle anyway and walk in circles around the podium for a bit. My wife has been a longtime supporter of mine, and honestly without her, so much of my life just wouldn't be what it is. This channel probably wouldn't be half of what it is without her. Our relationship has been an ongoing system of support without question. With her and her surgery a few years back, to me and my job, my channel, and my ability to get all of my income stolen online. I couldn't have asked for a better and more supporting wife, and I have no intention on messing this up anytime soon. One of the other 3 big moments in my year came from receiving an early review code for my year's most anticipated game. It might not seem like much to some people, and maybe it is just a small victory, but it's a small victory that meant a lot to me. It made me feel trusted to some degree, and that maybe I've actually been making it somewhere on this little YouTube journey of mine. The growth here over the year has been an incredible one to witness, and I've met lots of great friends along the way. And I want to extend a huge thanks to each and every one of you for your understanding and patience with me along the way. As we go into 2020, there is most certainly going to be a lot to look forward to, even though the world seemingly keeps spinning towards disaster. I feel grateful where I live to have not become familiar with the sounds of protests in the streets, or missiles launching or dropping somewhere nearby. The sounds of rifles firing in crowded areas, or worse. In this regard, I consider myself insanely lucky, far more lucky than some other people can say. Though the threat of tomorrow changing everything always lingers overhead, I aim to do in 2020 what I've been doing for years now. I aim to keep going forward. Hopefully, whatever I move forward into continues to be of value to all of you, and hopefully no matter where you all are, you find the will and the way to just keep moving forward as well. And with that, that's just gonna do it for this month's Tark Talks. 2020 is just beginning, and it's shaping up to be a year that will live on in the history books forever. Let's hope some of that history shapes up to be good. At the very least, let's hope for a killer game or two and less hostility over petty shit like who likes what game on what system and who doesn't. And, well, that's my attempt at well wishes, I guess. Sorry it all sounds so grim, but hopefully you guys get what I'm trying to say, which is, I guess, keep your chins up and, don't push so hard that your fingers go through the toilet paper. I guess I'll catch all of you guys going forward in 2020. Hopefully I didn't just scare you away with that grim well wishing. As always, folks, thanks for watching.